Hi, my name is Thea. I am trying to do the DJ Vinyl Vertigo's 2024 Soul tag. This is a huge challenge for me because vast majority of the music that I own on records are rock and roll. So when I saw the 20 questions, I challenged myself to see if I could live up to them and see if I can actually produce records that can fulfill the challenge. So first thing I want to do is make sure I didn't make a mistake of what is soul. So I actually looked up what the definition of soul is and I wrote it down. The definition of soul, according to the internet, is a type of pop music incorporating rhythm and blues with gospel, performed with an emphasis on the vocal, delivered impassioned and improvisational. So, as I show you all these records, I'm hoping that I'm within those realms of the definition. I may be stretching it a little bit, so I apologize, but this is the best of my ability of what I think may fit into this category. Oh, and by the way, DJ Vinyl Vertigo, Scott Elliott, I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're getting better, and may you continue. Okay, so the first question is, name your most listened to soul album. Well, this may be neo soul, but I consider neo soul to be soul. Who is Jill Scott? I've listened to this for the last 20 years. I purchased it when it originally came out on CD, and I remember listening to it all day at work, at home, all the time. I absolutely adore this record. Unfortunately, at the time of its release, I didn't get it on vinyl. I didn't have a record player, but I did have it on CD. And a couple years ago, when I saw that they were re-releasing this for the anniversary, I pre-ordered it. I was so excited. Managed to get it. It had some quality issues that was in the pressing, some skipping parts, unfortunately. But that said, I kept it because it's an amazing sounding album in spite of that. That's how good it is. The mastering, the music, everything's fantastic. So I will always enjoy it. I've listened to this a million times, even in an imperfect pressing, but I still love it. And so this is my most listened to soul album. Second question. What was your most recent soul record purchased? Well, last time I purchased a record would have been a couple months ago, and this would have been this album. James Brown's Soul on Top. Now, the thing about this particular album is, even though we all know James Brown is absolutely soul, this particular album is him going jazzy. He does some standards, some big band standards on here, and he also has done new versions of Papa Got a Brand New Bag and It's a Man's World. He had extra horns. It sounds wonderful. It sounds full. This is Verve, but it was pressed at Third Man Pressings in Detroit, Michigan. I believe this is analog. This is an amazing pressing. It's affordable too, so if you see it, absolutely pick it up. It's a fantastic album. I think originally released in 1970. This was probably re-released about 2 years ago. And I'm thrilled with it. The third question. Name a male soul artist. Marvin Gaye. This is his last album. Probably the biggest hit on here is Sexual Healing. This was released in, I believe, 82. Unfortunately, Marvin Gaye was murdered by his father right when he was on the verge of this major comeback. It was a huge hit for him. It's a very sad, sad story. It always gets me angry when I think about it. His father was a reverend, and his father was abusive to his mother. As we know, Marvin Gaye had problems with drugs, and he owed money in taxes, and he was trying to get his life back together. Came back to the States, had to stay with his parents. He saw his father being abusive towards his mother, and Marvin Gaye said to her, "Leave her alone, stop beating up my mother." And he went to bed, and his father shot him while he was sleeping in his bed. And then they dragged him away and said he had dementia. And it's just a sad story, and it is just unfair that he was taken from us too soon. But this is an amazing album. It definitely puts you right into 1982. It's a wonderful, wonderful album, and I was thrilled when I found it, so I picked it up. Okay, so name a Stax release. Well, this Stax release I'm showing you, the Staple Singers, Respect Yourself, on 7 inches. It's fantastic, fantastic song. Everybody knows it. It's funky, it's soulful, it's gospel. I think it should fit into the soul category. The next question, name a soul artist not from America. Okay. This gentleman, Peter Straker, interesting person. He was born in Jamaica, moved to London. He was on the original London stage performance of Hair. This particular album is more glam, but there's definitely soul to it, there's rock to it, there's funk to it, there's cabaret to it, but he definitely has soul in him as well. Interesting man. He's still going. All the best to him. If you ever see this, just check it out. Again, glammy, but I'm gonna stretch it and say he's soulful as well. Number 6, name a female soul artist. I'm going with Neo Soul again, Erykah Badu. Mama's Gun. This is a Vinyl Me Please copy that was released a couple of years ago. It sounds fantastic. Get it real quick. Probably my favorite song on here is Penitentiary Philosophy. It's very funky. This is the inner part. And this is a picture of her in her getaway car. So, I don't know anybody who doesn't love Erykah Badu. Gospel single album from a soul artist. Okay. Well, here's Aretha Franklin, Say a Little Prayer. Definitely gospel to me. And she's the queen of soul, so there we have it. Name a blue-eyed soul artist. I'm naming 2, I hope you don't mind. First one that comes to mind, Paul Weller. Everything on this album is fantastic and is incredibly soulful. The Changing Man, You Do Something to Me, soulful love song. He may not be blue-eyed soul because he's got green eyes, so he's green-eyed soul, but definitely soul. And I had to bring up the second, hope you don't mind, Joe Cocker. Greatest Hits. Covers a very soulful rendition of A Little Help from My Friends, Woman's to Woman, You Are So Beautiful, Delta Lady, Darling Be Home Soon. He puts soul into every song he's ever done. And this particular compilation, which is the Greatest Hits, I think was released in '75. So this is probably the period that I enjoy the most out of him. This is, if you see this, pick it up. Every single song is fantastic. Name a soul artist that more people should be aware of. Well, this is Dope Sagittarius. It's who we're hearing right now. I have the names of the band members right here. Ernest Damasio, Asim Barnes, Ramsey Jones, Enterfield McLeod, Howard Alper, Lukman Brown. This particular album is lush, it's soulful, it's funky, it's got a little rock to it, it has a little rap, it has a bit of everything. It was released in 2019. Everyone should hear this album. It's pretty freaking amazing. The heart and soul of this album is LaRonda, dedicated to LaRonda. And one of my favorite songs is probably Hate Us, but there are videos online, you can check it out. I think the videos that you may see online would be Black Empress and Define Love. So look that up on YouTube. Everyone needs to check out Dope Sagittarius. They're part of the Black Rock Coalition. Unfortunately, Lukman Brown had passed away last year, and we all miss him dearly. But check out that music, it's wonderful. Name a soul artist featured on a rock album. Well, this is the rock album, the Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed, and the soul artist is Mary Clayton. On here she's called Mary Clayton, but Mary Clayton. Mary Clayton, I think she was discovered by Bobby Darin, and she played the Acid Queen in the original London stage performance of Tommy. She's had solo albums. She's known for her being very pregnant and an amazing performance on Gimme Shelter, where she sings a duet with Mick Jagger. And it's probably one of the best all-time songs, and really because of her, she's an amazing talent. I think this was recorded in Muscle Shoals, and there's whole stories about her voice cracking and urban legends about miscarriages, but I think she didn't have a miscarriage. It's just her performance was so good, there were legends attached to it. So, Mary Clayton. Name a Motown release. Well, Eddie Kendricks, From the Temptations. This is one of his solo albums. Boogie Down is more of a disco album. You can see the label, Tamla, which is Motown. Fun album from beginning to end. Soul artist deserving of a box set. Now, please bear with me with this. I'm gonna show you this. This is Janet Jackson. It's the Jackson 5. I know this could never possibly ever happen because of legalities and copyrights and people fighting over monies and things like that, and it'll be a mess. But in my fantasy, I would love to see a box set of the Jacksons, the Jackson 5, Jackson solo artists. I think they have all released an album at one point or the other, and I would love to see an entire box set of an example of the best of the Jackson family. And this would definitely, in my opinion, have to be in among the box set. It's a great album. Janet Jackson. Okay. Name number 13. Name a soul act seen in concert. I'm going to show you two. I hope you don't mind. This is Leela James. I think this is from 2005. I saw her at Irving Plaza. She's from the West Coast. Very soulful. She does a rendition of A Change Is Gonna Come off of this album, and of the same name, and it's probably my absolute favorite version of that album, that song. When she came over and performed on the East Coast, I think she had to hijack a few musicians because her band couldn't make it. Something to do with problems with air flights, but in spite of her using musicians that she hadn't used before, it was a wonderful show, and they were tight, and it was funky, and it was soulful, and it was amazing. Another person, now this is kind of part two of that question, showing this album not because of Patti LaBelle, even though it's a very funky album, I'm showing this album because of Alan Toussaint. I used to work at the Public Theater, and Alan Toussaint moved to New York from New Orleans, and he would perform there on a regular basis. And he is the producer and the arranger of this album. And he's the producer and arranger and a writer of so many songs that are so important. Southern Nights is his song that he wrote originally, and I think Glenn Campbell had a #1 hit with. But he is all over the place in the music industry, and he's such an important, talented man. And he is no longer with us as well, but I was glad I got to see him perform live. Okay. A jazz record by a soul artist. Natalie Cole. Natalie Cole is the daughter of Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole made Capitol Records along with Johnny Mercer. And this is his daughter, and she is definitely a soul artist. She's a disco artist. She looks lovely on this. She's doing her father's songs. So, The Very Thought of You, Paper Moon, Route 66, Mona Lisa, Smile, Lush Life. Songs that made her father famous and made Capitol Records a lot of money. Natalie Cole, and I love this album. And I also love this Nat King Cole album. Okay, number 15. Name a soul artist in a group and the name of their solo recording. Okay, so what I have here is Diana Ross and the Supremes. This is the greatest hits. Everything You Want on this album. Stop in the Name of Love. Where Did Our Love Go? I Hear Symphony. You Keep Me Hanging On. You Can't Hurry Love. Baby Love. And Diana Ross. She's looking very dramatic on that. Love Hangover. The theme from Mahogany's on here. Very dramatic. Diana Ross and the Supremes. Number 16. Favorite soul song. I have two. First one I'm going to show you from Smokey Robinson. One of my all-time favorite songs is You Really Got a Hold on Me. That's on this compilation. This is a compilation as a writer and performer, so it's songs that he performs on and also songs that he's written that other people have done. But You Really Got a Hold on Me, one of my favorite soul songs, and my second favorite is The Temptations. You Really Got a, I'm sorry, excuse me, Just My Imagination. I saw a commercial for a horror movie called Imagination just recently, and they used this song as the scary theme song because they slowed it down a little bit. It's not going to scare me. This is a wonderful song. It's always one of my favorites and always will be. Number 17. Name a soul artist reggae release, or a reggae artist with soul release. Okay, so I'm going to show you two reggae artists. Jimmy Cliff, The Harder They Come, The Harder They Fall, One and All. To me, the absolute undeniable soul song is Many Rivers to Cross. This is from a movie soundtrack. He does acting in this. It's a gangster movie in Jamaica. Everyone should see it. But the soundtrack is phenomenal. And Many Rivers to Cross is the soulful song. Another reggae artist that is soulful and soulful song. This is a compilation. Feel Like Jumping, the best of Studio One women. There's two songs on here that I would say are incredibly soulful. One is Dawn Penn, No No No, the original version, and then this other song called Sleeping Trees by Nina Soul. So those are two reggae songs that are incredibly soulful. And just to switch it up a little bit, there's a soul artist doing a reggae song. Stevie Wonder, Master Blaster, jamming. 18. Name a live in concert soul recording. This is a soundtrack to a concert, this filmed concert that took place in Africa, recorded live in Ghana, West Africa. On this album is Ike and Tina Turner, the voices of East Harlem, Eddie Harris and Lee McCann, Roberta Flack, the Staple Singers, Wilson Pickett, and the voices of East Harlem again. These are African American artists going over to Africa and performing soul and gospel to the Afrikaners. Soul compilation release. That's Soul. This compilation has Mustang Sally, Wilson Pickett, Sweet Soul Music, Arthur Conley, When a Man Loves a Woman, Percy Sledge, Knock on Wood, Eddie Floyd, Land of a Thousand Dances, Wilson Pickett, Baby What I Mean, The Drifters. This is a fun album. Never get sick of it from beginning to end. A great album. Should be a staple in everyone's collection. And I think that is it. There's one more question, and it's number 20. It says, name a favorite soul channel in the vinyl community. Of course, the gentleman who started this whole thing, DJ Vinyl Vertigo, is probably my favorite. Also, something that he mentioned as one of his favorites is Soul Disco, which is Nadine. She's a German woman. I discovered her about a year ago. I found a old copy of Looking for Mr. Goodbar in a bookstore, and it inspired me to look up the soundtrack to the movie, because I remember there's a movie made of it, and on that journey of looking for that soundtrack, up popped Soul Disco and Nadine. That's how I discovered her. And that's it. The two that I really get a lot out of are those two. So I know this probably was terrible and awkward. I'll see how it turned out. Maybe I'll have to redo it again. Okay, we have another drink. Hope you enjoyed Dope Sagittarius. Hope I wasn't too weird. And that's it. Have a good day.